All right, we go back to the phones, and joining us right now from the always calm Washington, D.C., Congressman Jodey Arrington. Welcome back to the show, sir.
A little tongue-in-cheek there. 4 o'clock in the morning, this was my earliest vote. But, it may be the most consequential vote I've cast. I mean, we've gotten tax reform, regulatory reforms, reforming our services to our veterans. A lot of folks think, what's Washington doing? I think under the leadership of this president and this unified Republican Congress, we've gotten a lot of things, including the repeal of the individual mandate. But this one should have a special place in everybody's heart. It's not perfect, and I'll talk about what I have concerns about, but the troops have been jerked around because we have head fakes called CRs, and we have shutdowns, and it just does so much damage to an already weakened military. And to go through the litany of things, like 80 people have died in training-related accidents, and that's more than we're losing on the battlefield. We have half of our aircraft that can't fly, and we have 4 out of 32 of our combat squadrons that are ready. I could go on, but Secretary Mattis pleaded with us, get us the money, stop this madness, and allow us to do our job and keep us safe and successful while we're on the battlefield. That's what this is about. Let's be clear. It's not about rural health. It's not about cotton. It's about our men and women who wear the uniform and keep us safe and free. Okay? That's first and foremost. I'll stop there.
Well, but this does include provisions for cotton farmers.
I'm glad you asked. Yeah, look, we've been working on this from day one, and this has been a problem, and it's been a disaster for cotton country since cotton was taken out of that safety net, and there was no risk management tool for big market swings and market volatility, and that we've seen historic market volatility and historic low prices. So we put this in. It was in the disaster supplemental. They folded it into the overall budget deal, and now we have permanently fixed the cotton problem and put it back into Title I permanently in law, and it will. I believe it'll stay there forever. I mean, that it will have that safety net value that we need in order for China not to basically run us out of the cotton making business. So, man, Chad, this is a game changer. It's billions to this region, and it's obviously who we are as West Texans. It's our history, our heritage, and it's our future. So there's nothing bigger for our region than that, and there's nothing more important for our country than our troops. So I see this on balance, I see this as a big win.
Congressman, I sent out a tweet earlier, and then I mentioned here on the show, I thought Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Cornyn, I thought you all made the right vote on this. There are some who are saying, wait a minute, what about the conservative angle, angle of not wanting to explode the deficit? This adds to the deficit. It's something that Rand Paul discussed last night. Touch on that for a little bit, will you?
You bet. First of all, the two biggest threats are national security, rebuilding the military, addressing our threats right now. The other is our national debt. I've said it all along. The national debt is the longer-term threat. The immediate is what I described as the dilapidated military and our lack of readiness. So I would love to solve every problem in every piece of legislation, but we can't, and we needed 60 votes to get the funding that the military needed. So we weren't able to tackle the deficit spending and the debt. It bothers me. I'm concerned. I know Ted Cruz is concerned, and I think all my colleagues are. But mandatory spending, let me say this. First of all, we had to get this done for the troops, first and foremost. Secondly, discretionary spending. You can wipe out all of discretionary spending, and you will not get at the national debt. Mandatory makes up 70%. So we have got to start reforming entitlement programs, and we've got to start reforming welfare. That is the largest part of the debt driving fiscal activity in the government. So I'm not. I'm just saying, on balance, this was a good deal for our country, but it did not take care of the longer-term threat. But I'm on budget, and we'll keep fighting and hammering away. But at some point, Republicans, we're going to have to show that we aren't like the opposition party, where we'll kick the can down the road every year and just say, well, it's tax reform, well, it's the troops. I get that. And I'm hoping that, in this budget cycle we can go bigger than we did last time with that $200 billion cuts that we've talked about on your show before.
Congressman, before I let you go, what's next? Now that a budget is done for 2 years, now that there's an agreement for 2 years, what's next for Congress? What do y'all tackle next?
Well, I think three things, and we've got this economy growing. I think we've got to keep it growing, and part of that is going to be the labor supply. You've got 6 million open jobs. You've got millions more who are able-bodied, who are trapped in a cycle of dependency on welfare. We've got to get people to work requirements, welfare reform, number one. Number two, let's get this DACA thing solved. This at least gives long-term funding so we can clear the path to deal with some of the other problems that face our country. So let's get immigration. Let's do it the right way. Secure the border, stop illegal immigration, and give some certainty to the DACA folks who are here. And then lastly, it's about the debt. It's deficit, and saving the future for our children and grandchildren. And we got to keep banging away at that.
Congressman, appreciate your time today, and definitely appreciate you calling us on. After this vote, it wasn't a long government shutdown. I do think that there were probably some employees, I mentioned this earlier, who they were probably watching the news last night thinking they had a 3-day weekend, and that didn't happen. So good job to getting the government reopened.
God bless you, buddy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it.